Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to be doing a blush focused video. I'm going to be ranking all of the cream and liquid blushes that I have tried. So if you want to see my thoughts on these cream and liquid blushes, just keep on watching. Make sure to subscribe down below. Give this video a thumbs up if you do enjoy it. And if you want to see my thoughts, just keep on. Okay, so I have my iPad here and I'll probably insert like a video of me doing this, or I don't know. I'll figure it out. So I have 6 categories. I have Holy Grail, I have Really Good, Neutral, Don't Buy. So I actually got this idea from Jamie Page. She does this with like, I think she's done with like bronzers, blushes. I can't remember, but I thought it was such a good idea and I've been wanting to make it. I just kept forgetting about it, so that's what we're doing. So yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. The first one I'm gonna talk about, I think I pulled the bronzer too. So the first one I'm gonna pull is the Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Blush Stick, and I only have the shade Earthy Pink. I'm pretty sure the shade Raspberry is like very popular. I will have swatches and up close of the products in the video, but I really like this blush for every day. I think it's a very good formula. It's nice and creamy. It has more of like a satin finish. I wouldn't say it's super dewy, but I wouldn't say it's very matte. I think it's easy to work with. It does come with a brush that I never ever use, but yeah, you can blend this out with your finger, you can blend it out with a sponge, you can do it with a brush, you can put this over top of powder. But if you're gonna do that, I would definitely recommend using a sponge and just going on your, a sponge, just going on top of your hand, picking some up on the sponge and lightly tapping it, just so you don't disrupt anything underneath. But I'm going to put this product in the Really Good category. Next is the ones that I actually have on today. These are the Jaclyn Cosmetics Cream to Powder Blush Sticks. So these came out in her summer collection last year, and they have some really nice shades. I actually used mostly this one in the shade Overruled, which is just like a nice like mauve pink, and then I also topped it with a little bit of the shade Impress, so it's just like a hot pink, which this one actually, I just seen this. I used to store them so that I could see the colors on the bottom, but I guess it made this one fall out of the container because when I opened it, it wasn't the top. So just be careful when you're storing them. These are super creamy. Like, I'd say creamier than the Makeup by Mario. These have quite a bit of pigment, so you do want to kind of use a little bit at a time, especially if you are fair skin like I am and you're using like bold shades like this. You definitely want to kind of use a light hand. They are very easy to work with. They are very blendable if you can go overboard. So if you do, they are pretty easy to blend out. But for some reason I don't reach for these very often. I don't know what it is. I think the colors are super pretty, but there's just, I guess since I do need to be careful because they are pigmented, I tend to not reach for them a ton. And I don't know. To me, I'm kind of neutral about these. Like, I mean, if you want to pick them up, they are good, but I don't feel like there's a necessity for your makeup. So to me, I feel like I'm just neutral about them. So next, Anastasia. So these are the stick blush. I have the shade Pink Dahlia and Peachy Keen. So I do really like these. Again, I really like the colors that these have. These are definitely a little bit, to me, they're not quite as creamy as the Jaclyn Hill ones, or Jaclyn Cosmetic ones. They kind of remind me of the Makeup by Mario, but they're still super creamy. Again, very easy to work with. I don't ever have any problems with this taking off the makeup. I hate the brush on this because it's so tiny that I just feel like who's gonna be using this to blend out blush? But I don't know. Again, these are a great formula. I really like the colors. They're a little bit more of like a satin matte finish, I would say. But yeah, and the Jaclyn Hill ones, I did forget to mention, these do dry down to a matte finish. So once you blend those out, they are going to dry down to like a powder matte finish. So if you have oily skin, that might be a good bonus for you. But yeah, they're good blushes, but again, there's just nothing about them that absolutely blows me away. So I feel like I'm I'm undecided if I want to put them, because they are really good. I'm like, do I want to put them in the neutral? For now, I'm going to put them in the neutral, but that might change. So, next is the Rare Beauty Melting Blush. And I have two shades. I have Nearly Berry and Nearly Apricot. But these are more of a matte formula. So these are a little bit more buildable than her liquid blushes. They're a little bit easier to work with. So if you are someone just starting out with creams or liquids and you don't really know how to use them, it's a nice formula to use for an everyday basis, because again, this can go over powder, this can go under powder. I prefer under powder for all of these just because I think it's just an easier application. But I really do like this blush. I will say I don't think it lasts as long as her liquids, so that's kind of a downfall on it, but everything else is really, really great about it. Easy to work with. It's a little hard to go overboard with these, and they have very nice shades on these too. Nearly Berry is like one of my favorites, so I'm gonna put these in the really good category. Next is the Huda Beauty Cheeky Tint Blush Sticks. So these just came out like a couple months ago. I got these during the spring Sephora sale, and I love these. You can use these over powder, you can use these under powder. They are so easy to work with. You can blend them out with your finger, a brush, a sponge. They're just so pretty. They have a nice, like, even though these shades look very bold, they have such a nice sheer buildable formula. Like, again, it's hard to go overboard with these, but they just look so nice and natural on the skin. These are a type of blush you could wear with absolutely no makeup on, and it's just gonna look like a nice flush to the skin, or you can wear these with a full face. I have put these over top of a blush just to get that nice, like kind of like a glowy, dewy, healthy color to the skin, just because these they're not super dewy to where they just look like a highlighter mixed with a blush, but they just look so healthy and glowy on the skin. I love these. I think they're great for beginners. I just think they're great for everyone. These are honestly some of my absolute favorites. I have seen that the pink one, the Proud Pink, I think it's called, does seem to have just a little bit more shimmer than these do, so just keep that in mind. But these two I am obsessed with, so I'm gonna put these in the Holy Grail category, which is kind of bold, I know. Next we have the Say Do blushes. So these are kind of remind me of a liquid version of the Huda Beauty ones. These are, again, these look super intimidating. They look very bold and scary, and I was a little worried, but when I use these, again, they just give you such a nice natural flush to the skin. They are very buildable, super easy to work with. They have more of a sheer formula, so you can't really go overboard with these quite as easily. These are just so nice. I like the big, like, it almost looks like a fingertip kind of applicator. I just really have been loving these. I've been reaching for these on my natural days, on my full glam days. I am really obsessed with these. So again, I want to put those in the Holy Grail. Next is the Rare Beauty liquid blushes. I can't remember the exact name of these, but I have quite a few shades. I have Bliss, I have a mini one that's in the shade Adore, which is a very pretty shade. I have the infamous Happy shade that got viral on TikTok. I have Faith, and I have Grateful. So these are a lot different than the Say blushes or the Rare Beauty Melting. These are super pigmented. So if you just use the lightest hand, I mean like one dot per cheek, or just like what I like to do is put a little bit on the back of my hand, take my sponge or my brush, really blend it in to make sure it's evenly through the product, and then lightly go on the cheek, because you can go overboard with these super fast. They wear very well. They last a long time because they are so pigmented, and I feel like they kind of dry down. So yeah, they can be a little bit tricky, and I don't feel like this is a good one for beginners, only because it does kind of have a learning curve. You definitely have to use a light hand. You definitely don't want to let it sit because it's going to dry down. Most of the blushes, if you just let it sit on your skin, it is eventually going to dry down, so don't do that. Blend it out immediately. But yeah, it's a very good blush. I just feel like there is such a learning curve that's why I don't want to put in Holy Grail, and I feel like it needs to go in really good because I love having them in my collection. I love using them, but they are definitely have a bit of a learning curve, so I'm going to put them in really good. But if they weren't so pigmented, I'd probably put them in Holy Grail. Next is the Patrick Ta Double Take Cream and Powder Blush. So I have all of the shades except for She's Blushing because it kept selling out, but I love these. If you've been watching my channel since I think like last spring, I've talked about these nonstop. They are some of my absolute favorite blushes. I think these are great for beginners because you get the cream, you get the powder. They're very easy to work with. They're super blendable, and these can go over powder because Patrick Ta, his method with these is he actually does the powder first and then the cream, and you get more of like a skin like dewy look with it. I kind of do my typical and I'll use the blush and then the the cream and then the powder. Again, do it however your little heart desires. If I want more of a dewy look, then I'll go in with the cream last. If I want more of a matte look, I'll go in with the powder last. So yeah, these are some of my absolute favorites. I cannot recommend them enough. I feel like they have a lot of nice shades. He did re-release his holiday one, so they have some nice bold shades. Those are pigmented. To me, the ones that he released during the holiday, the more bold shades, those are more pigmented than his original colors. I have to be careful with those because I can overdo it, but with these, chef's kiss. I take these traveling. I just love these because, again, you're getting a good bang for your buck because you're getting 2 blushes in one. They're so easy to work with. I feel like if you want to try a good cream blush and you don't know where to start with these. So I'm going to put these in Holy Grail. Next is the One Size Cheek Clapper 3D Blush Trios. So I have the 2 bolder shades, which could have been a mistake on my part. So these come with a cream, a powder, and a shimmery powder. So you definitely are getting a bang for your buck. I think these are kind of like on the pricier side. I can't exactly remember. But yeah, so you do get 3 in 1, which I did really like. I've got to be honest, since I have bought these, I hardly ever reach for them. They are so insanely pigmented. Like, I feel like even when I do a little bit, I'm still going overboard with these. Like, the powders are pigmented, the shimmer is pigmented, the cream is pigmented, and I know I got the 2 boldest shades, and you're probably thinking, well, yeah, you're fair and you got the 2 boldest shades. But I've seen other people having this problem too, and I don't want to have to choose the most bland shade to get these to work with me. He does have other shades, but these, like, I use shades like this, and I know they look too deep for my skin tone, but I promise you with colors like this, use a lighter hand and they will look beautiful and just very sunburnt. I have a few different blushes that are in this shade, so I know shades like this work for me, but this one is just so pigmented. Like, I don't think these are beginner friendly. I hardly ever reach for them just because they are so pigmented. I don't know. I hate to say it. I just don't love this. Now, the bronzer one that he came out with in this, I really like it. And you get 3 powder bronzers. I kind of wish he would have done a cream bronzer and then 2 powder bronzers, but whatever. But yeah, so I don't know if I want to put these in Don't Buy, but I feel like I don't really have great things to say about these. I don't know. I also feel like I could use these more, but as of right now, I think they're my Don't Buy. I said it. I just think there's other ones that are way better than that one, and they're expensive. I think if you're going to go for like this price, I think these are $38. Now, I could be wrong. I don't really remember. But these are $34, so if you were going to go for them, I would go for this. You still get a powder and a cream. You just don't get a shimmery powder, which I know, I don't think a lot of people love shimmery blush. But yeah, you can always just like use highlighter or top with like another shimmery blush. But for me, these are in the Don't Buy. Next, we're going to go to the drugstore side. So I have the One Size Putty Blush. I have quite a few shades in these. These are amazing. I love these. They're only like I don't want to say $3 or $4 because I feel like they are a little bit more, but I don't remember. I know that e.l.f. went up on prices a little bit, but these are just so good. They are more of a matte formula, and I just love them. I wish they were a little bit bigger, only because sometimes it's hard to get a brush into this like tiny little packaging, which is just like a tiny complaint. But I love these. I think they are so worth the money. If you are, you know, on a budget but you want to use a cream blush, these are amazing. They actually remind me a lot of the Rare Beauty melting blushes. I think they have a similar finish, a similar formula, where they're more of like a sheer formula that you build up, and they remind me a lot of each other. So I'm gonna put these in Holy Grail because I think these are some of the best drugstore blushes. Moving on, so I want to mention one that I don't have. I actually gave it away, so I don't have the actual component, but it is the Flower Beauty liquid blushes. So I didn't hate these. They were fine. I feel like they were very overhyped in like the beauty community, like on YouTube, because they were just very sheer. It took a lot for me to build these up to the color that I personally wanted. I think if you like more of a sheer blush, you might like it a little bit more than me. But I don't know, sometimes I feel like I would put it on, it would kind of just blend to nothing. They weren't my favorite. Again, I don't really hate them, but I also don't love them. I feel like if you're looking for something at the drugstore, I would pick up the e.l.f. ones because they're just amazing. But I don't know, I didn't love them. I felt like every time I wanted to use them, and I did, it was just hard to get the color to build up for me. I just felt like when I put them on my face, they would kind of just melt into my face, like they kind of just disappeared. So for me, those are a don't buy, but I know a lot of people love them, so maybe I got like a bad batch, I don't know. Next, we're going to talk about the Melt cream blush lights. So they released like 3 natural finish shades, and then they released like 5 shimmery shades. I've never tried the shimmer ones because it's just not what I really want. I like a shimmer powdery blush. I like a shimmer powder blush, but not like a shimmer cream, because sometimes I feel like that emphasizes like pores and texture. But the natural finish ones are amazing. These are pretty pigmented, so again, have a light hand with these. A little goes a long way, but they are just so easy to blend. They're so easy to work with. I love the colors. I know they just released a pink one, so I definitely want to pick that up when it comes to Sephora, but I love these. I think they're really, really nice. They're such good quality. They're so creamy, so easy to work with. They give you that natural finish, so it's not super dewy, it's not super matte. It's just like that perfect in the middle, and I really, really love these. So I'm gonna put these in Huda Grail. So the next is the LYS Higher Standard Satin Matte Cream Blush. So this is again more of a matte finish. I'm very neutral about this blush. I feel like a lot of people liked it. It's a good cream blush. It's easy to work with. It has pigment. There's just nothing about it that screams out to me. It's just very, like it's good, but I don't reach for it over other ones. I don't think it's better than other ones. There is a shade, I know I'm like saying I'm very neutral about it. There is a shade called Humble that I really, really want. It constantly keeps selling out since these Sephora spring sale. So I haven't been able to get my hands on it, but maybe it's just the shade that I'm just kind of like meh about. It's good. There's nothing bad to say about it. If you want to try it, it's good. If you don't really have to. I don't know. So I'm gonna put these in the neutral, which might get some heat because I know a lot of people really like these, but next is, this is my newest one to my collection. I think I got this in a BoxyCharm, so I got this for like $5 or something like that. So this is the Dominique Cosmetics Cream Blush in the shade Soft Pink. Oh, I have a little brush here in it. Hold on. This is a nice blush. It's more of a, I feel like it's more of like a satin matte finish. I don't think it's super dewy, but I don't feel like it's super matte. I'm gonna meh about this one too. There's nothing about it that, like, I've used it a couple times and it looked good on the skin. It was easy to work with, but it was just fine. I feel like there's other ones where I'm like, this is such a nice formula, which this one is, but it's just not quite there, you know. Like, I still reach for other ones over this one. I'm gonna put this one in the neutral. So next is the Fenty Beauty Cream Blush, and this is in the shade Strawberry Drip. So I waited forever to pick this up because there was a lot of mixed feelings about it. Like, either it was people loved it or people said it had like no pigment. It was just like glowy and just didn't look good on the skin. I'm gonna be honest, it's not a favorite of mine. There's something about this one that I just, maybe it's because it's so little. This is the smallest blush that I own. This is tiny. Can you like, I don't know if this is a good comparison, but I just feel like it's very small, especially compared to the bronzers, which you're not going to go through a cream blush, I feel like, as fast as like maybe a cream bronzer, but it's a good formula. It's a more dewy sheer formula. So again, this one's pretty buildable, even though it looks like a very bold, intense shade. It's very easy to work with, blendable. This is the only shade that I've tried. I know she has other shades that have more of like a shimmer to it. So again, can't really speak to those, but to this shade specifically, I think it's a good formula. It's nice for summer. I don't know. I kind of want to try more shades on this one. So I feel like, because that looks pretty. It does have like a more of a dewy finish. So if you don't like dewy finishes, just keep that in mind. I'm gonna put this one in. I'm trying to think if it wasn't in my collection, would I care? I think I'm gonna put it in neutral. I know, I don't know. I just feel like it is a good blush, but would I notice if it wasn't there? I don't know. So I feel like it needs to go in neutral. Next is the Kosas Color and Light Cream Blush. So this one is actually a cream blush and a cream highlighter. So I got this in a BoxyCharm. The cream highlighter is really nice. It's really creamy. It blends into the skin really nicely. I think it looks nice on the skin and it doesn't break up your foundation or anything. Again, the cream blush is really good. I hate to put this in neutral because I keep putting everything in like, I just feel like with cream blushes, I know what I like, and if it doesn't like blow my socks off, then I'm kind of just like, it's good, it's fine. Like, there's so many these days, you know, where I'm kind of just like, okay. So yeah, this is definitely more of a dewy formula. It's a very emollient, very creamy. So again, you can use this with your finger, your sponge, your brush. I don't think this one would go over powder very well because it is so emollient and creamy. I think it might break it up. If you put it over powder, so if you put it over powder, just be careful. I think it's good. I don't think I would repurchase this, so I feel like should that go in the neutral? I feel like I'm putting everything in the neutral right now. Next is the Item Beauty Blush and Light Cream Blushes. Personally, I wouldn't categorize these as a cream blush. They're a very different formula. They have like a powder formula. Like, if you look at it in the pan, it looks like a powder, but when you touch it, it's just like a very like soft powder. That's exactly how it feels, but this is categorized as a cream blush. These are definitely, I wouldn't say these are super pigmented. They're more buildable, but yeah, I really like these. I think they look nice on the skin. Since they are kind of like that powder formula, you can use this on creams, you can use it on powder, whatever you want to do. Again, they remind me a lot more of just like a very soft powder formula, but they're categorized as cream, so I would put these in the category. Okay, so I only have a couple more to talk about. So I have the Tower 28 cream blushes. So I have 3 shades. Again, this is what I mean by I have a lot of shades that kind of remind me of the one size. These are very similar to the one size cream blushes that I just showed, but these are so much better. These are more of a dewy formula, so just keep that in mind. These are not matte, these are more dewy, so they're kind of going to give more of a glow. So if you don't like that, just keep that in mind. But these I love. They are so easy to work with. They're very blendable. They're not too pigmented, but they still have enough pigment. I obviously like them since I have 3 shades, and I just really like these. You can put these on with anything you want. They're just a very nice natural finish, like flush of color. So I'm gonna put these in Holy Grail. Last 2. So first I'm going to talk about the Rose Ink Cream Blush. This is in the shade Foxglove. I really like this blush. I wouldn't necessarily call it a Holy Grail just yet, but I really like it. They're a little bit more of a... They're not quite as creamy as the Too Faced, like as emollient as even like the Kosas. They're a little bit more like I don't know. I really like these. I love the packaging. I really like this color. It's just like a nice like sunburnt color. I really like this blush. I would buy more of these. So I'm going to put these in the really good categories. Oh, category. Why do I keep saying categorize? So Rose. The last one is the Rodial Liquid Blush. I don't know exactly where you can get these. I have them from BoxyCharm. From what I can remember, these are pretty expensive, but I really like this blush. It's definitely more of like a glowy blush. I like to use this as a blush topper. On its own, it really doesn't have a ton of pigment, but it just gives you a nice like flush of pink, but it gives you a nice glow. So I love using these on top of cream blushes. Like when I don't want to use a highlighter, I have used it over powder, I have used it under powder, and it works well with me both ways. So I do really like this. I'm gonna put this in the really good, but I do think it's a little bit pricey. So okay guys, so that was the main thing that I wanted to mention. I just want to talk about the ones that I've tried so I can give you my review, my opinions. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see a part 2, I can do like bronzers, eyeshadow palettes, stuff like that, let me know, because yeah. So hope you guys found this video helpful, and yeah, I'll see you in my next one. Bye.